Welcome to the Get Your Game On podcast, hosted by Andrew and Chris.
Well, surprise, surprise. Once again, I'm here ready for you guys for another episode, but I still can't find Andrew anywhere. Andrew!
Shit, sorry, Chris, sorry. Just out on the balcony there.
Come on, let's do this.
Close the patio door.
Let's get this Stampede Edition of Get Your Game On.
Stampede Edition. Welcome everybody to Get Your Game On podcast. I'm Andrew.
Hey, I'm Chris.
Want to thank you so much for joining us once again. It's what would have been the Calgary Stampede if we did have a Stampede. But first, I just want to do a quick thing and crack open this beer here. It's a local one, Grizzly Paw Brewery. It is the Beaver Tail Raspberry Ale. Hashtag not an ad, hashtag just a fan. It's delicious, so you know what? Buy local and support your merchants in your area, wherever that may be. Chris, we got some more important sports news coming up here. There's a resumption of playing a lot of new, leagues. A lot of the leagues. A new resumption of play. Sorry, I had a little bit of cannabis earlier.
It's legal in Canada.
It's legal in Canada. Okay, so don't come up my ass.
Cheers, my friend.
All right, cheers to that. Now, NHL resumption of play. Let's talk about that.
So yeah, the NHL and the PA have come to an agreement finally, as well as they extended the collective bargaining agreement to 2025.
Right.
So the resumption of play will be starting on August 1st. The two hub cities have been chosen, and they're both in Canada.
They are.
We've got Toronto out east and Edmonton here out west, which makes sense to have them in Canada as far as I'm concerned, because unfortunately COVID is going crazy in the United States.
I mean, more new cases each and every day. New records, even worse than they were in March or April or May or anything. But, that could snowball into a political thing, and we don't want to do that. What we want to do, though, is talk about sports and talk about how maybe COVID might affect the resumption of play or the start of play in the case of, MLB or the NFL, and what that's going to look like. Let's look at the NHL, because that's what we were kind of touching off on.
So, there will be the 24 teams in the play-in tournament. Calgary's going to be playing Winnipeg, Chicago versus Edmonton. You got Montreal and Pittsburgh, Florida and the Islanders, not Rangers, the Rangers in Carolina. Columbus is playing Toronto. Hold on, I just got it up on the screen here.
That's kind of an odd couple thing.
Then Arizona and Nashville.
We'll just move it over on here. This one is not a touch screen. This is a 2012 model.
Yeah, that's right. So those are starting August 1st. Those are the teams that will be playing. You also have like St. Louis, Colorado, Boston, Philly, Pittsburgh. Minnesota's playing Vancouver. Sorry guys, the screen kind of went all funky on me. So there's going to be a whole slate of games. They're going to be starting games, from what I understand, at about noon.
Right, yeah,
every day.
Noon local time as well, because that's going to, kind of be staggered. And, you could, my understanding as well is that the blackout restrictions, the normal blackout restrictions, are not going to apply. And that makes sense, because, you're not going to have people in your home arena.
Yeah, there's no fans.
There's no fans there, so it makes sense that they wouldn't have any of the regular blackout restrictions that they otherwise would have, just like many other leagues have as well. But yeah, I mean, our hometown Calgary Flames, they are in it.
They're going to be playing Winnipeg, and I think they're in for a fight. Winnipeg is a pretty good team, but Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets, their goaltender, has had an amazing season. And we all know a hot goalie, you can do it all for you.
A hot goalie can win you a lot of silverware, that's for sure. And, if he does that, I'm sure that on his next extension, he's going to make hella bucks.
Oh, but
dad joke. But I'm not a dad,
but
as far as I know.
The one interesting thing, though, with the play-in teams is the NHL had their draft lottery.
Right.
And the first overall pick will go to one of the losers of the play-in teams.
Yep, that's right. First overall pick. So it's you had to. It's a season where you couldn't have just tried to tank it just to get a high pick. It's one where if you want the first overall, you had to at least give it your all. But I wonder what implications that might have on the postseason for a team that would have otherwise maybe not made it, like Montreal. There's speculation. Montreal they had a bomb of a season, and they barely squeaked in with this new playoff play-in format. But if they were to lose, then they have an equal chance amongst the other teams that lose out on that section of the tournament. 12.5% chance of getting the first overall pick. What do you think the chances are that a team might try to not try?
I don't think that's going to happen. These guys are professional athletes. They're also guys that have been dreaming of winning the Stanley Cup their entire life.
That's true.
So you got a chance to win the Cup. You're not going to look at it and go, well, you know, if we just throw away this series and maybe get the first overall pick. No, you're going for the Cup.
Right.
So these teams are going to play hard, fight to win that series. Some series could be 3-0 sweeps because that's hockey.
Yeah.
But
that's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, I don't think any team is going to intentionally lose. Like I just can't see that in professional sports. And if it came out that a team that did it, and even if
Sox,
even if it,
in 1909,
yeah, the Black Sox, yeah,
whatever the fuck it was.
Even if it was these guys, if it came out that the Calgary Flames decided, you know what, as a team, we're going to intentionally lose the series so we can try to get that first overall pick, I might change my allegiance because I'd be that mad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially when it's you're essentially starting a brand new season. You know, a lot of people say the playoffs, it's a brand new season, and in a way,
Definitely this year.
You know, it is normally because everybody's kind of starting from a fresh slate, but everybody truly is now. I mean, you've had 4 months off and counting.
Yeah, they haven't played since March 12th.
Right, and you know, everybody's on the same boat now. I mean, you know, some of them may have been training at home, maybe a local rink or what have you, but it's still not the same as NHL caliber hockey. Even if you're playing competitive games against a beer league team, you know, and you're lighting it up 20 goals a game against them, that's still not playing NHL hockey, and it's still not really keeping you up to speed on that. There's going to be a very short training camp. I understand there's going to be very quick week and a half, 2 week training camp. Then it's off to the hub cities. They're going to be possibly playing one exhibition game. That's still my understanding.
That's still in the air.
That's still in the air. But my goodness, I mean, it's exciting to have hockey back finally.
It is, but the interesting thing with it as well, we're getting hockey back, but there has been some players as of this moment. We're filming this on Saturday, July 11th, 7-Eleven Day. Why didn't you give us free Slurpees today, though? I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
Not a
What's up with
sponsor,
that?
just disappointed.
Yeah, not an ad. And, you know, don't sue us because we don't have any liability insurance, so.
Yeah, but I've so far seen about 5 or 6 players who have decided that they're not going to play.
That's true. One of the first ones, if not the first one, I believe it was, Travis Hamonic of Calgary. Calgary Flames decided to opt out. And, I mean, if that's what you have to do for yourself, that's what you have to do for your family, I completely support that. You know, even though it might make it a little tougher for my team or for your team or for any team for a player to opt out, you know, I think it's the right thing to do if they think that it's the right thing to do.
If it's what they need to do for their family's safety in this pandemic, you know, I hold no grudges. There's been Major League Baseball players that have opted out. We haven't seen any NFL players do it yet, but the NFL season doesn't start till September, so that still could happen. And any player that does, I don't hold any ill will, any hard feelings. I understand. Would I love to see Travis Hamonic on the ice for the Flames? Indubitably.
Indubitably. I'd love to see him on the ice too, and it would be great to have him in the Flames uniform during the playoffs, but you know, I 100% support his decision to do what is right for him and what's right for his family, because that's what it comes down to. You know, hockey is a sport, and you know, sports is a part of life, and it's an important part of my life as it is yours.
Yes.
But overall, look at your whole life and what's important. I'm glad that he decided to do what was right for him, as have a few other players as well. And I think we're going to see some more. But you know what? It's interesting to see how that's maybe going to pan out in terms of the results too.
Definitely could be interesting. The one thing I think it could do for some of these teams is it's opened up a roster spot for a young guy.
Yeah.
Who knows? This young guy could come in and everyone by the end of this could be like, who the heck is that? Where did he come from? The AHL.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great opportunity for some of the young guns to come up, and even if they just get that little bit of taste of playoff hockey, even if it's the play-in series, it's going to be playoff hockey. That's what it is. This is the playoffs, and I think that even if you're just 18, 19-year-old, green as hell behind the ears, you get up there, you get a taste of playoff hockey, you're going to want more.
Oh yeah, it's going to help them so much. You've seen it in many careers in the past where young guys got brought up. Jerome McGinley got brought up for the playoffs when he first started.
And it wasn't the team wasn't really successful. They bowed out in the first round. 6 or 7 games, something like that. But Jerome, I believe he played 3 games and he did score. He got I think it was a goal and an assist in the series.
I think he did.
As I think he was a 19-year-old, maybe.
18 or 19-year-old. Yeah, like he was quite young. And that he said many times that experience for him was invaluable because he got to taste the dance. Because in any sport, the regular season, it's fun.
Yeah.
But the entire goal is you want to get to that dance so you can fight for a championship, whether it be the Super Bowl in the NFL, the Grey Cup in the CFL, the Stanley Cup in the NHL, or the NBA championship or Major League Baseball's championship. You want to fight for that.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's all about the championship. It's all about the competitiveness, really.
It is. That's what sports are.
That's what it all comes down to. And really hoping that our hometown Flames do go far. But I'm excited to see what does happen. But there's other sports that are coming back online as well. July 23rd, MLB.
Major League Baseball is coming back on July 23rd. They finally got everything together. They're going to play a 60-game season. I know we covered that a little bit in our last episode. But everything has been finalized. The schedule's out.
Right.
Teams are practicing. Not sure where the Jays are playing yet, though.
Yes.
That's still being debated whether they can play here in Canada, in Toronto, at the Rogers Centre, or they're going to end up having to go down to Dunedin, Florida and play. Because baseball teams will be traveling.
Yes, they will be traveling. It'll be interesting to see, especially with the cross-border travel, not just for the Blue Jays as a team, but any of the visiting teams as well. Also, the fact that Toronto is an NHL hub city. Would that complicate things? I think that it might be better off, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment has a very large stake in the Blue Jays as well.
The Blue Jays are owned by Rogers.
Well, you know what? I was totally wrong about that, so...
As far as I know, the Rogers own the Jays. That's why they have the coverage for the Blue Jays. I personally think they're going to play in Florida. I really do. I just think with the government is allowing NHL players to come up for the NHL playoffs,
right,
because they're being tested multiple times before they get here, and when they get here, they're being tested, and they're also every day. They're also in a complete bubble. Like the NHL has stated that if a player is caught leaving the bubble that they're allowed to be in, they will be kicked out of the playoffs. So it doesn't matter if it's Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, whoever it may be. If they break that rule,
they're out.
They're out, and I agree with that. This is, we want sports back, but they've to put so many safety precautions in for the athletes and those involved.
And they put the precautions in because that's what needs to be done. I mean, can you imagine in a tight-knit kind of circle like that, 1 or 2 people catch COVID, you're going to end up with 5, 6 cases, 8 cases, 10 cases.
20, 30, wherever it may be.
However many people end up getting that because it can, and then, I mean, maybe you play a couple games, you don't even realize you're sick yet, you pass on to other teams. It's something where I think they need to keep an extremely tight lid on.
Yeah.
But that does seem like that is their plan. And I know we were going off from hockey, but we circled back to it. But back to baseball there. I mean, there's going to be a 60-game season. We still don't know where they're going to be playing. We still don't know in terms of uncertainties. CFL.
Yeah, CFL's up in the air. They have put another proposal. Oh, sorry. A little bit too much of the wobbly pops. They have put a proposal forward to the Canadian government, again, asking for some aid to play this season out. They're aiming at a 6 to 8 game season. I think it's pushing more towards 6 now.
Yeah.
And then an 18 playoff for the Grey Cup. And at last I heard the Grey Cup would be played in the team that has the best records stadium.
The team that qualifies for the Grey Cup game that has the best record between the two teams. So between the two teams that qualify, the one that has the best record will host it.
Unless the CFL does decide to go full hub city, which they are still bantering that back and forth. And I'm pretty sure if they go into a complete hub city, the entire season will be played in one stadium. Right from start to finish.
That's one thing that I did see, and I saw that it was being considered to play at Investors Group Field in Winnipeg. And it kind of makes sense because it's central. Winnipeg is the central point in Canada. BC, Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatchewan, you play there. Toronto, Hamilton, Montreal, Ottawa. You all come to Winnipeg there, and that does make sense, and that would make sense if they had to have a hub city. My understanding is that the CFL is looking to have fans in the stands, hopefully, knock on wood, it's wood underneath these beautiful flamingos that we've switched back to this week. Knock on wood, they're going to have some fans in the stands come playoff time.
Let's hope.
And that's kind of what they're pinning, essentially a lot of their revenues on is at least having some butts in the stands, paying for those tickets, buying those hot dogs and those beers and those nachos and those jerseys and just that's what the CFL's bread and butter is the fan participation when they speak with their dollars, and it'd be a shame to see that go. I really do think the federal government will step up, and I hope that they do. And not just for a handout, but it's a part of Canadian heritage. It really is.
What is it? It's a Canadian institution, and to not have the Grey Cup played would break my heart.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, and sitting in November when it's supposed to be Grey Cup weekend, my poor wife will probably kick me out of the house for the weekend because I'll be grouchy as can be, and she's here as our studio audience tonight.
That's true. Yeah,
she could probably back that up, that I would be grouchy and complaining because I don't have my CFL football.
We do have our studio audience for yet another week. So today it is Chris's wife, Jen. Say hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
All right, thank you.
She's a comedian herself, haha.
Woo! All right, but yeah, CFL, I really do think that they're going to make it. Whether or not they have a season, I think COVID will decide that and the spread. But whether or not the CFL will survive, I really don't think the federal government will allow them to fail. I think there will be mechanisms put in place for them to, if they need to defer things, if they need to, I think even if it's not a monetary bailout, there will be some sort of structure for the CFL to survive because it's a part of Canadian iconography.
Yeah, I can't imagine Canada without the CFL. I can't. It's our game.
Absolutely.
It's our league. It's our game. I look at it even more to me, but that's because football is my number one sport.
Yeah.
Than the NHL. That's because the CFL is 100% Canadian.
Yeah.
It's a Canadian tradition. The Grey Cup and the Stampeders bringing the horse into the hotel lobby, and the Rough Rider fans putting a watermelon on their head, even though I think it's asinine.
It's it's part of their tradition and it's part of their pride, and you know what, I respect that. I've done a lot of stupid bullshit too in my day, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to the start of that season. NFL season will be starting up as well, but we're going to touch on that on our next episode coming up next week. Chris, was there anything else you wanted to touch on though?
I did just think chatting about the CFL reminded me of something that's actually affecting the CFL and the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge pressure on in Edmonton and Washington to change those teams' names.
Right.
Major sponsors have said they are going to back out if the Redskins stay the Redskins and the Eskimos stay the Eskimos.
Right.
It is going to be interesting over the next little while to see how these teams handle it. From what I understand, Washington is in the process of changing their name. Edmonton is in the process of discussing it.
Right.
Do I think they need to change? Yeah, I do. I've thought, Edmonton fans call themselves the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep the double E's on their helmet, just call themselves the Empire. Or you know what? Everyone calls them the Esks. So just drop it to the Esks. There's ways you could do that. I just think with everything going on, Eskimo is offensive as a type of people. It used to be a slang for the Inuk people.
Right.
And, even the Cleveland Indians, they need to change their name.
It's a great debate to have, and it's a debate that's been going on, in kind of smaller circles, I suppose, for many years, and it is a great debate to have. To be honest, I think that whatever the majority says is what we should go with. I think that names that seemed fine at the time and harmless, over the course of time, people develop and progress as society does, and sometimes we find that those terms were not necessarily the optimal way to describe a group of people or whatever the case may be. So I think that it's good that it's being revisited, and you know what, I certainly welcome that, and I'm glad that the teams are welcoming that as well.
And it will be interesting to see what comes of it. There's not any solid news now, but I heard on it was one of the sports talk shows I listened to, someone said that the Washington Redskins should rename themselves the Washington Sentinels and have the jerseys from the movie Replacements, because he would run out to the store that day and buy a Footsteps Falco jersey. And you know what? I might too.
That would make for a good short-term cash grab. I don't know how well that would go overall for a team name and for a team identity and brand, but it's an interesting scenario. I think that kind of wraps it up for the sports news for this week, since we don't really have a whole lot of sports going on. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Just same thing I've been saying, is stay safe, be smart about things when you're doing things, and as things in your area start opening up more, just be safe, stay healthy, and remember, get your game on.
All right, wear a mask, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. We want to see you again. And we will see you next time here on the Get Your Game On podcast. Check us out, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little bitty button right down here. Right down here, I think is where it is.
Yeah.
In post-production, you can put a button down here.
Yeah, I can put a button there.
All right. Hit that, and we'll be so grateful. Thank you so much. Good night.
Have a good one.